Hey guys, today we're going to talk about slope-intercept form. I'm going to do two short videos, one on the first page and one on the second page, so that they don't get really long. The first thing that we need to remember is that linear equations are written in slope-intercept form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And so then in the box there you see y equals mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept form. Now you guys have definitely seen this before. I know this is talked about in 8th grade, so this should not be new, but we will probably take it a little bit further and do a little bit more with it than you've done in 8th grade. Now in this first section, it's really easy. You're just using the slope and the y-intercept to write the equation of the line. And so you just have to think about that slope goes in the place of m, y-intercept goes in the place of b. So you're going to use this formula. I'm going to write it down the first time, but then we won't rewrite it every time. And then you're just going to substitute 2n for m, because slope is 2. And then instead of having plus b, you're going to have minus 1. So if your intercept is negative, then you want to use a minus sign. If it's positive, you'll use a plus sign. Now, they can be whole numbers like that first one, everything was a whole number, or they can be fractions like the second one. So for this one you would just do y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. So the slope is negative 1/2, it goes in front of the x, and the y-intercept is the b, it's positive, so we're just going to add it on to the end. Alright. You can also have a fraction for your y-intercept. That's okay. You're not going to treat it any differently. You're still going to just substitute 3/4 in for m, so that goes in front of the x, and then you'll have minus 1/4 for b. So you'll just substitute it in. You don't have to change anything. Everything just, if you have the slope and the y-intercept, you just plug it into the problem. Now if you have something like this where you have a 0 for the y-intercept, technically you have y equals negative 5x plus 0, but adding 0 does not affect your equation, and so you can rewrite that as just y equals negative 5x. So you don't need the plus 0. If you need it in order to graph, like to remember that you need to start at 0, then that's fine, but just understand that in a multiple choice situation, this would be the answer, not this, not the plus 0. And then this one is a lot like the one above it. You're just going to have 2/5 x and then minus 4 instead of plus because it's negative. And then for the last one, this one is the tricky one, okay? So for this one, you have y equals 0x plus 3, but 0 times x is 0, and 0 plus 3 is 3. So this one is a horizontal line. So if you have one that tells you the slope is 0, remember we learned in the lessons last time that a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. And so then you don't have an x in your problem at all, because you're just crossing the y-axis, not the x-axis. So this one is special. Make sure that you understand that. All right, in this next section, we are going to identify the slope and the y-intercept of the line on the graph, and then we're going to use that information to write the equation. So first of all, you've got to know what those two things are. Slope, remember, is rise over run, and m always stands for slope. So in this problem, you're going to find a place where it crosses the grid, and so I'm just going to use right here. I always look at the y-axis for a perfect point if they have one. And then this one is just rising and running 1. So you're going to rise 1 and run 1, and 1 over 1 is 1. So the slope of that line is 1. The y-intercept is b, is this point where it crosses the y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis also at 1. And then we're going to use that information to write our equation using the slope-intercept form. So when we plug that stuff in, we've got y equals 1x plus 1. And you can simplify that because 1 times x is just x plus 1. So you don't have to keep the 1 in there because 1 times x is x. If you leave it like this, that's okay. But again, just like the one up here that we talked about, that is not going to ever be a multiple choice answer. It's always going to be simplified to just x plus 1. All right, on this one, the slope, if we start here on the y-axis, we're going to go down 1, so that's negative 1, and then run 1, 2, 3. So you get the fraction negative 1/3. And then go back and look at that point where it crosses the y-axis. That's going to cross at 1 again. And so this time our equation would be y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. And you can't simplify anything there. So you're just going to leave all those numbers like we did in number 5 right here. All right, this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a point on my y-axis where it crosses and then see where I need to go. So it looks like it has another perfect point right here on the grid. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, so that's negative 2, and then over 1. And negative 2 over 1 equals negative 2. Now, on the quiz we had before Christmas, there were a lot of people that missed this. There was a problem that had this slope of negative 2, and you guys told me it was negative 1/2. That happened a lot. It's not negative 1/2. So negative 2 over 1 is negative 2. So make sure that you're not flipping fractions when you're not supposed to. And then the b is up here where it crosses the y-axis, so that's at 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means when we substitute these in, we're going to have negative 2x plus 4. Okay, that's all you do. Find the slope, find the y-intercept, and put them into the formula. All right, I'm going to do these next. So this one starts here, and then it looks like we have to rise 1 and then run 1, 2, 3. So this one is a positive 1/3. It's going up, so it's positive. These other two that we did up here were going down, so they were negative slopes. Then where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses at 0. It goes to the origin, so the y-axis is 0. So when we substitute that in, we get y equals 1/3 x plus 0. And then if you recall from number 4 up in the top section, you actually can simplify that to just y equals 1/3 x. All right. Then if we do number 5, I'm just going to go ahead and put a point there on the y-axis where it crosses, and this one looks like it goes down 1 over 1. So down 1 over 1 is going to simplify to negative 1, whereas up here we had up 1 over 1, which simplified to positive 1. And then we cross the y-axis up here at 2. So then this one is going to be y equals negative 1x plus 2. And just like we can simplify this one to x plus 1, we can simplify this one to negative x plus 2. So you don't have to have the 1 in there because negative 1 times x is negative x. Okay? But if you need to leave it for your understanding, that's fine. Just understand this is what the multiple choice answer would look like if this were on a multiple choice test. All right, last one. We're going to start here, and then it looks like we're going to go down 1 and then run 1, 2, 3. So same slope as number 2, down 1 over 3. And this time we're going to cross at negative 1. So that means when you substitute in, you're going to have y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. There's nothing to simplify, so you're just going to leave that the way it is. All right, I hope you guys got all this. If you have questions, just send me an email or a Schoology message.